Asia Pop 40.
Joining us. My goodness, on live stream, we have the wonderful Amy Lee of Evanescence. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Joey. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Of course, amidst very strange time for the world. So the first question obviously has to be, where are you and how's everything over there?
I am home like everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
I live in Nashville. I've lived in New York for years, and we just moved to Nashville last year. So we're in our new place. Been hunkered down for quite a while now. The days are kind of running together, but we're good. We're healthy. We have a lot to be grateful for sure. I know a lot of people are suffering a lot, so we have a lot to be grateful for. Yeah, but I'm here with my husband and my 5-year-old son.
Yeah,
We're
that's
all driving
right.
each other crazy.
Jack is
Yeah.
5 now. I mean, he's got to be full of energy now. Is it hard to keep him, under control with the lockdown?
Yeah, it's definitely an energy difference between him and us, and it's just us. So he's just needing to run. I'm glad to be where we are. We have a big backyard now, so he can run and hunt for worms and whatever. But the weather's been pretty bad, so we've been kind of indoors watching a lot of movies for sure. Going back to a lot of movies I loved when I was a kid and watching those with him, which has been kind of fun.
Such as, what's the latest one you watched?
Okay, I've gotten him. He's now obsessed with The Secret of Nim. Do you know that story with
Yes.
the rats? That was a movie that I loved as a kid. It's really dark, actually. Now that I'm watching it again, I'm like, man, it's like deep themes. Like these kids are gonna die, and he loves it. He's obsessed with it. He's really into like science, So the rats being into the, like electricity and like they're intelligent because they're, lab rats that escaped. He loves it. So that's a good one for sure. I think that's our new favorite.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I'm in my mid-30s, same with you, around the same age range. So we grew up with some really dark stuff as kids, and nowadays you look around, everything
did.
is happy-go-lucky. You have basically Frozen's always end on a happy note. How do you think that's gonna change the kids in the next generation?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Like our imaginations are gonna go wild no matter what, I think. There were darker tones in the 80s a lot, like in a place for kids, where now, like as a mom, I see like red flag all over the place with the stuff that I was into. But at the same time, like just letting it be okay. I wonder, like from an artistic level, letting it be okay to imagine and letting it be okay to be a little bit exposed to themes like death, the fact that it's going to happen, we're going to be exposed to it sometime. I don't know what the right moment is, but I don't know. It's a weird question. Like, is it better to be able to explore a little bit so that it's not so scary? I don't know. Music for me has always been a cool outlet for darker stuff, but it because I have that, I'm a pretty, I don't know. I'm not really a depressed person normally. I feel like a fairly balanced person. I think that's the best way to put it. But having an outlet to be able to, I don't know, release some of that stuff and talk about it really helps me.
Yeah, and I feel like that the idea we just actually started talking about is maybe the motif of your new album, Bitter Truth. It's sometimes you gotta be told the bitter truth on an early age, like in Dumbo and Bambi, that kind of stuff. Is that what it's actually about?
It wasn't about the young age part, but yeah, just about not living in denial. There's a lot of lies in the world right now. And I am definitely facing a moment where I just want truth. And oftentimes, it is more bitter to know the truth, but so much better than, I don't know, being under someone else's control or not knowing what's going on or living in a bubble and not actually tasting life. I'd rather have the truth. And it's also just about growing up, going, all right, somebody's got to be the grown up here. Let's do this. And then you can really experience what's going on around you, right? But it does take living through things, to get there.
I think a little bit of disillusionment is necessary to grow, to evolve.
Yeah.
What's the age old saying? You got to have thesis, antithesis to have synthesis, right? And speaking of synthesis, by the way, I loved the synthesis project, and I loved
Nice
the whole
transition. That
energy.
was good. That was smooth. Yeah.
So that was, I mean, the whole tour ended for you less than a year and a half ago. Are you still feeling the high from that?
That's so crazy. So much has happened since then.
Yeah.
Weird when you say that. That was a really, really cool experience. We all learned a lot, and it was a challenge. It was something that when we started out on that tour in particular, with the live experience being such a live experience where so many different people were playing their instruments together in that one night only, in a way that's so volatile and so beautiful at the same time. Just it's hard to explain what it was like, but it was really, really good for us. And it was scary at first. It was quiet. We were sitting instead of rocking out and hiding behind strobe lights. It was a lot of exposure. And as scary as that was at first, especially for the guys.
Why is that? Why did you say that?
They just hate sitting down. They're like, I have to sit here. I can't rock out. Like, everybody's looking at me. It's quiet. This is the opposite of what we were trained to go for.
Yeah.
But then once we got used to it and started thinking of it more like a studio experience and focusing on the fine details of the sounds that were coming out of our instruments, more than the hype and the vibe, it just became really, really beautiful and wonderful. And then, the vibe happens on its own. But it was more like a theatrical experience, I think, for the fans. It was beautiful. And we've done a bunch of touring since then that was back up on our feet rocking again, which has been the perfect precursor for us, like, gearing towards new music. So we just kind of wanted to start by getting to the roots of who we are now as a band, as a live band in particular, grooving together, jamming together, obviously being familiar with the old music. And even as we do our older songs live, we're always putting some kind of a new spin on it that makes it us now, like, right, even if it's in small nuances. So taking all that stuff and then going, okay, and in between tours, starting the writing process started about a year ago, was so refreshing to be able to bounce back and forth between both very different modes, like of live and meet and greets and people and fans and energy, and then get quiet, get cave girl, like, go totally rogue, like making music, getting weird, and then going back out on tour again. It felt really good. Now we're in a place where it's just full creation. We would have been on tour right now, and we're not, due to everything that's happened in the whole world. So we're having to be in this writing place, but we already were going to be there. We were going to continue, like, touring in between, but it's sort of forcing me to just, like, do what I gotta do. So I'm in here hunkering down, getting in the studio, getting weird,
Okay, so, well, I mean, recently I read an article online about your previous interview, and they gave it a pretty interesting spin on the title. They say that this is going to be not only the 5th studio album, but the first original, like the first all original album for Evanescence in the last 9 years. And I thought, okay, that's an interesting spin. I didn't think about that. So with those two combined, 5th album usually means a lot to a band, and having, been, I wouldn't say out of the game, but having created that much content for 9 years, how are you taking different approaches? And are you feeling a little scared or unfamiliar with the grounds anymore?
No, we feel really confident. But taking that, that spirit of the synthesis live performances, like that I was talking about, feeling vulnerable and feeling really exposed. We're in that now, embracing it more than I think I would have been able to if we hadn't had that experience and come out on the other side feeling great, like better. We just released our first song from the new album, and we're not finished writing the album, and it's got to be out by the end of the year. It's a little scary. I like it. I like the way that it feels, but it's definitely like a fire has been lit. Like we did it ourselves, but here we are. You know, I want to live in the moment. I want to be able to just create from a pure place and put it out and believe in it. And I believe that we can. We have a really great body of work going. We really just need to finish it all and get in there and record it. But there's more songs being written right now. So I don't know. It's fun. It's exciting. It's kind of unpredictable. It's kind of a living thing.
Yeah, and we listened to Wasted on You. We love it. Love the music video too. They say that art mimics life, and when life has become just day after day of bumming around doing nothing at home, you can see that in the music video of Wasted on You. How fun was it to produce something like that?
It was really cool. It was really empowering feeling. By the time that we had the project in our hands, we're like, okay, let's do this. Let's spend the next 4 or 5 days like shooting footage and aiming towards the same thing. I really needed something to do. I needed a project. We have music to make, but to feel like we were all in on something together felt really good. Like it brought us together a little bit. So I love that about it. And working with Paul, our director friend, we spoke to him about what we wanted, and he empowered us by teaching us how to do it ourselves and make it look good. He gave us a quick like kind of photography course by talking about lighting and teaching us all the tech on our phone to make it 4K and how to like about composition and stuff, which was really cool because then I started just walking around my house looking for light and going, ooh, this is cool. Yeah. Like, I'll just be here. I don't know. It was fun. And then when I was talking to Jen tonight, we were doing like a video call just because we miss each other. And we both were talking about how we cried when we first saw the edit. And I have said that before, but I didn't hear that she did. I think we all need to feel connected in this moment where we do, but we need to be reminded like on a regular basis that it's real because we're all so isolated. It meant a lot. It was a really cool thing to have that video to do.
Yeah, and literally this music video is much closer to home for you guys because you did film it at home. And I'm sure,
home.
Right? Yeah. And I'm sure because of it, you're like the spouses, the boyfriends, girlfriends, they got to get involved with it too, right? So Josh had to learn how to work a gimbal?
Yeah, he did. He's the one who had it. Thank God. I'm the one who's always like, we don't need any tech. I don't have anything. He's like, I have this thing. I bought it because I was playing with it and now you can use it. He helped me a lot. He actually took that album cover photo too.
He did.
The idea in my head. Yeah, I had the idea in my head and I was like, we need this now. So can you do it? And he's like, all right, let's do this. And we were like Sharpieing on mints and taking photos and pretending to be photographers.
And that's good. It's good to have a family project, and it's good to learn something new. Videography is actually a very fun thing once you get the basics of it.
Yeah, it is.
And okay, so let's talk about the album and the writing process, because I'm pretty sure the songs are done. The writing process is through now. You're just waiting for production, or are you still writing?
No, we're still writing.
Okay, so
we have 2 this week that we just started up. Yeah, we're still writing.
So you're all writing from home. I'm curious, where is Amy's favorite place to write at home? Is it the porch? Is it the kitchen?
I'm in my studio right now. I usually write in here. I've got a lot of keyboards here. I have Pro Tools happening.
Nice.
And all my toys when I was in high school, they're up on the shelves, and Rainbow Bright makes an appearance once in a while. Anyway, yeah, I've got everything that I need in here to throw a scratch down. I can't do everything the band can do, obviously. So my role is usually coming up with like the basic like skeletons, like the lyrics, like the vocal melodies and the chord progressions. And then from there, it's like, all right, who's got an idea? Or sometimes it starts with a riff or a drum beat first. Beats are usually a good inspiration for me, but I like to go through just my synth libraries and sample libraries and like listen for sounds and beat ideas and then just start singing over them sometimes and create something that's usually sounds much more electronic than it does in the end.
Yeah.
And then we turn it into a rock song together. but sometimes some of those parts stay.
Okay, well, we can't wait because, like you said, the synthesis project is going to carry over into this one, which means a little bit of rock, a little bit of orchestral arrangement, maybe, and a little bit more electronics.
I don't know if I'm going to say that. No, I actually feel like the synthesis project pushed us a little bit to the other side. It made the pendulum swing back.
Oh, okay.
So far, the songs that we've recorded so far, we haven't wanted any orchestra. I think there will be definitely a time for it. It's been so long since we put out music. This needs to sort of have all the elements present.
Yeah.
But so far, it's been rock and electronic.
Looking forward to it. Do we have a ballpark of release dates? And I mean, I know you're working on it furiously. I don't want to put a pressure or light a fire under you.
This year, we're just gonna keep releasing one by ones for a little while.
Okay.
And the plan is to drop like the back half of it by the end of the year, and just be like, okay, here's the whole thing. So I don't know exact date yet. We kind of have to wait on what's going on, but we're just going to keep releasing what we have and recording what we can and get it out when it's done.
All right, well, there you heard it from Amy herself. Evanescence with a new project, 5th full LP, The Bitter Truth, coming out sometime in the back half of 2020. And Amy, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you. Thanks for talking to me, Joey. Hey, this is Amy Lee from Evanescence, and you're listening to Asia Pop 40.
Asia